The Lichfield Gospels is an 8th-century Insular Gospel book housed in Lichfield Cathedral. There are 236 surviving folios, 8 of which are illuminated. Another 4 contain frame text. The pages themselves measure 30.8 centimeters by 23.5 centimeters. The manuscript is also important because it includes, as marginalia, some of the earliest known examples of written Old Welsh, dating to the early part of the 8th century. Peter Lord dates the book at 730, placing it chronologically before the Book of Kells but after the Lindisfarne Gospels. The manuscript was rebound in 1962 by Roger Powell, at which time it was discovered that in the rebinding of 1862 the manuscript had been cut into single leaves and that the pages had been trimmed. During the rebinding of 1707, the manuscript was digitized in 2010. In 2014, Bill Enders returned to Lichfield Cathedral and used reflectance transformation imaging to capture the dry point glosses in the Lichfield Gospels. One gloss recovers contributions of women during the early medieval period. Its listing of 3 Anglo-Saxon female names suggests that women worked in the scriptorium at Lichfield. Provenance. Scholars view 4 places as possible sites for the making of the Lichfield Gospels: Ireland, Northumbria, Wales, and Lichfield. Paleographic and stylistic similarities link it to Northumbria and Iona. The painting techniques resemble those of the Lindisfarne Gospels and the Book of Kells. Some scholars view this great Gospel book as likely written in Wales due to the Welsh marginalia, perhaps Llandeilo or other site in South Wales. However, in 1980, Wendy Stein made an extensive argument for Lichfield, viewing Wales as unlikely but Ireland and Northumbria are still possible. In 2003, the discovery of the Lichfield Angel provided further evidence for a claim of Lichfield, but without definitive evidence, this debate is likely to continue. Based upon style, the actual making of the book may be placed between 698 and 800. Patterns of interlaced birds on the cross-carpet page strikingly resemble the ornament on a cross shaft from Aberlady, Lothian, a Northumbrian site of the mid-8th century. The author, artist of the book and the sculptor of the cross-shaft ornament may have had a similar source for the designs. Although it is unknown how the book came to be in Lichfield, it was certainly there by the end of the 10th century. The opening folio contains a faded signature reading Winsage Presult, which probably refers to the Winsage who was Bishop of Lichfield from circa 963 to 972-5. Folio 4 contains a reference to Leo Frick who was bishop, from 1020 to 1026. Wherever this great Gospel book originated and however it came to Lichfield, it has been there since the 10th century. In 1646, during the English Civil War, Lichfield Cathedral was sacked and its library looted. The books and manuscripts were given to Frances, Duchess of Somerset, who returned them in 1672 or 1673. This is probably when the second volume of the Gospels was lost. Presenter William Higgins is credited with saving the remaining volume. They were put on public display in 1982. The bishops of Lichfield still swear allegiance to the crown on the Lichfield Gospels. Other insular illuminated manuscripts of possible Welsh origin include the Rhysmesh Psalter and the Hereford Gospels. Text and script. The manuscript contains the Gospels of Matthew and Mark, and the early part of the Gospel of Luke. A second volume disappeared about the time of the English Civil War. The Latin text is written in a single column and is based on the Vulgate. The manuscript has almost 2,000 variances from the Vulgate, almost a third of which it shares with the Hereford Gospels. There are fewer variations in the text which agree with the Macregal Gospels and the Book of Armagh. 370 agree with the Book of Kells and 62 with the Lindisfarne Gospels. The script is predominantly insular majuscule but has some uncial characteristics and is thus called semi-uncial. There was a single scribe. The script forms strong links between the Lichfield manuscript and Northumbrian, Iona, and Irish manuscripts. Decoration. The manuscript has two evangelist portraits, a carpet page, incipit pages for Matthew, Mark, and Luke, a Cairo monogram page, and a page with the four symbols of the evangelists. Unfortunately, Matthew's incipit page is severely worn, appearing to have functioned as the manuscript's front cover for a number of years. Matthew's Gospel includes four framed pages, the genealogy of Christ, and Matthew's last page, Marginalia. There are 8 marginal inscriptions written in Latin and Old Welsh, which are some of the earliest written Welsh extant. The first records in Latin the gift of the manuscript to God on the altar of St. Taylor by a man named Jelly, who had bought the manuscript for the price of his best horse from Single. The altar of St. Taylor has in the past been associated with the monastery at Llandaff, but, as it has been determined that the 3rd, 4th and 6th marginal inscriptions refer to lands within 15 miles of Llandaelova, it is now thought that the book originated there. The second such inscription contains a unique example of early Welsh prose recording the details of the resolution of a land dispute. These 2 inscriptions have been dated to the mid-9th century. The marginalia were edited by J. Gwenogfran Evans with John Rees in their 1893 edition of the Book of Llandaff. Gifford Thomas Edwards and Helen McGee have also identified 9 dry point glosses that are scratched into parchment without ink and so are only visible from an angle and hard to decipher. The first and final groups of 3 are decipherable as Anglo-Saxon personal names, and it is likely that the others are as well. In order, they appear in the glosses as follows: P217-1, Wulfan 2, Alkelm 3, Edrich, P.2211, T, P.2261, Bertfold 2, Elfold 3, Woolfill. It is possible there are other glosses on this text, and on other insular gospel books, that are yet to be identified. The names themselves might be significant if they can be dated, as the provenance of the manuscript is uncertain. An 8th century date would show that the gospel book was in Anglo-Saxon territory before arriving in Wales, whereas a date after the end of the 10th century would add little to what is already known, although dating either ways does little to rule out making in Ireland and Northumbria for a Welsh Mercian ecclesiastic centre. Furthermore, determining if the same hand wrote the text, the Gospels, and dry point glosses is highly difficult to discern unless the letters show signs of a later development in style. Dry point glosses are etched into the vellum rather than a smooth flow of a quill over a writing surface. G. Charles Edwards and H. McKee believe they have identified such features, elements of the letters in the glosses, that appear to be a late 9th century invention, in response to Carolingian minuscule. Therefore, it is likely that these glosses were additions after the Gospels had been moved to Lichfield.